Seth Material. Chapter 15. Past, Present, Future. Seth. Your idea of space and time is determined by your neurological structure. The camouflage is so craftily executed and created by the inner self that you must by necessity focus your attention on the physical reality which has been created. Time as you experience it is an illusion caused by your own physical senses. The apparent boundaries between past, present, and future are only illusions caused by the amount of action you can physically perceive. And so it seems to you that one moment exists and is gone forever, and the next moment comes and, like the one before, also disappears. Everything in the universe exists at one time simultaneously. The first words ever spoken still ring through the universe, and in your terms, the last words ever spoken have already been said. The past, present, and future only appear to those who exist within three-dimensional reality. The past exists as a series of electromagnetic connections held in the physical brain and in the non-physical mind. These electromagnetic connections can be changed. The future consists of a series of electromagnetic connections in the mind and brain also. In other words, the past and present are real to the same extent. You take it for granted that present action can change the future, but present actions can also change the past. The past is no more objective or independent from the perceiver than is the present. The electromagnetic connections were largely made by the individual perceiver. The connection can be changed, and such changes are far from uncommon. These changes happen spontaneously on a subconscious basis. The past is seldom what you remember it to be, for you have already rearranged it from the instant of any given event. The past is being constantly recreated by each individual as attitudes and associations change. This is an actual recreation, not a symbolic one. The child is indeed still within the man, but he is not the child that was, for even the child within the man constantly changes. Every action changes every other action. Therefore, every action in your present affects actions you call past. It is possible to react in the past to an event that has not occurred, and to be influenced by your own future. It is possible for an individual to react in the past to an event in the future, which in your terms may never occur. Because past, present, and future exist simultaneously, there is no reason why you cannot react to an event whether or not it happens to fall within the small field of reality in which you usually observe and participate. On a subconscious level, you react to many events that have not yet occurred as far as your ego's awareness is concerned. Such reactions are carefully screened out and not admitted to consciousness. The ego finds such instances distracting and annoying, and when forced to admit their validity, will resort to the most far-fetched rationalizations to explain them. No event is predestined. Any given event can be changed, not only before and during, but after its occurrence. The individual is hardly at the mercy of past events, for he changes them constantly. He is hardly at the mercy of future events, for he changes these not only before but after their happening. An individual's future actions are not dependent upon a concrete, finished past, for such a past never existed. The past is as real as the future, no more or less. There is a part of you that is not locked within physical reality. And that part of you knows that there is only an eternal now. The part of you that knows is the whole self, your inner and outer ego, all that you are. Chapter 16. Seth. The ego is a jealous God, and it wants its interest served. It does not want to admit the reality of any dimensions except those within which it feels comfortable and can understand. It was meant to be an aid, but it has been allowed to become a tyrant. Even so, it is much more resilient and eager to learn than is generally supposed. It is not natively as rigid as it seems. Its curiosity can be of great value. Seth asked, "Why is it so difficult for you to learn what freedom is? I ask you, how far do you think a flower would get if in the morning it turned its face toward the sun and said, 'I demand the sun. And now I need rain, so I demand it. And I demand bees to come and take my pollen. I demand, therefore, that the sun shall shine for a certain number of hours, and that the rain shall pour for a certain number of hours, and that the bees come, bees A, B, C, D, and E, for I shall accept no other bees to come. I demand that discipline operate, and that the soil shall follow my command. But I do not allow the soil any spontaneity of its own. I do not allow the sun any spontaneity of its own, and I do not agree that the sun knows what it is doing. I demand that all these things follow my ideas of discipline." And who, I ask you, would listen? For in the miraculous spontaneity of the sun, there is discipline that utterly escapes you, and a knowledge beyond any that we know. And in the spontaneous playing of the bees from flower to flower, there is a discipline beyond any that you know, and laws that follow their own knowledge, and joy that is beyond command. For true discipline, you see, is found only in spontaneity. Spontaneity knows its own order. In the spontaneous working of your nervous system, what do we find? We see here the head of the dean that rests upon his shoulders, and the intellect that demands discipline. And yet all of this rests upon the spontaneous workings of the inner self and the nervous system of which the intellect knows little. And without this spontaneous discipline, there would be no ego to sit upon the shoulders and demand discipline. You are like children with a game, and you think that the game is played by everyone. Physical life is not the rule. Identity and consciousness existed long before your earth was formed. You suppose that any personality must appear in physical terms. Consciousness is the force behind matter, and it forms many other realities besides the physical one. It is, again, your own viewpoint that is presently so limited that it seems to you that physical reality is the rule and mode of existence. The source and power of your present consciousness has never been physical, and where I am, many are not even aware that such a physical system exists. The physical system is an illusion, but you must accept it, and from your viewpoint try to understand the realities that exist beyond it. You cannot objectify the inner portions of your own identity, and therefore you do not perceive them. So much of your energy is used in the physical productions that you cannot afford to perceive any reality but your own. Like children playing with blocks, you focus your attention on the physical blocks. The physical blocks appear very real to you when you dwell within their perspective. Other shapes and forms that you could perceive, you do not. Even in explaining other realities, I must use the words and shapes, or you would not understand me. The human race is a stage through which various forms of consciousness travel. Yours is a training system for emerging consciousness. Before you can be allowed into systems of reality that are more extensive and open, you must first learn to handle energy and see through physical materialization the concrete result of thoughts and emotions.